Welcome to the program tonight. Now, let's begin with the latest in the world reaction to the Westgate terror attack here in Nairobi. The Kenya government has protested the reissuing of the travel advisory by the United States government, saying it was uncalled for. Now, the U.S. Embassy had reissued a travel advisory against Kenya following the Westgate Mall attack. The warning had first been issued on the 5th of July, but was given out again yesterday. U.S. citizens have been advised against travel to the northeastern region of Kenya, particularly Elwak, Garissa and Mandera, which also experienced attacks days after the Westgate siege. Areas such as Pate Island and also areas surrounding the Kenya-Somali border have also been highlighted in the advisory. However, the U.S. government says that there are no restrictions on travel to Kenya's most popular tourist destinations, such as the Masai Mara, Lamu Island, Hell's Gate, Malindi and Nairobi. Now, travelers have been advised to stay informed of local developments by following local press and to remain vigilant at all times. But in a statement sent to newsrooms, the Foreign Affairs Ministry said terrorism is a global issue and not one that affects Kenya alone. It went on to say, and I quote, "Issuing travel advisories such as this one is not what we expect of our friends with whom we have enjoyed cordial diplomatic relations for a long time. We expect support from our friends, which is why we call on the U.S. government to withdraw the advisory." End of quote. Now, but even as the government complained about travel advisories, local political leaders want heads to roll both at the police headquarters and the National Intelligence Service over runaway terror incidents in the country. A member of the Defense Committee, Asman Kamama, and the Minority Deputy Leader in the National Assembly, Jakoya Midiwa, demanded that Inspector General of Police and the Director of the NIS both take responsibility for failure to contain terror. Here is KTN's Noor Otieno with the details.
The executive is standing firmly by the two men currently in the eye of the storm brewed by a recent terror attack at Westgate Mall. The politicians are not about to spare NIS boss Michael Gishangi and Inspector General of Police David Kimayo.
And I want to ask the president of this country, because the media is here, if this had happened in any civilized nation, security heads would have stepped aside. They should not be the ones doing forensic audit.
Gishangi has already appeared before a parliamentary committee over the attack, although he didn't say much. But speaking at Kabarak in Nakuru, a member of the Committee on Defense said Kenyans have lost confidence in the security chiefs.
I want to warn, nataka kusema Commission of Police, will anasimamia intelligence, the two deputies, you must pull up your socks. You must pull up your socks. Terrorists wanapiga 1 week mfululizo.
It is the same kind of barbs against Gishangi and Kimayo that came from a section of the CORD leadership.
We'll ask the army who looted the banks at Westgate, who killed the police at Westgate, who called the army to go to Westgate. Why is the army going with platoons to fight 10 people? Why is their police not doing their work? We will ask.
We need a judicial commission of inquiry to look into the affairs that happened.
Gishangi has been a target for many critics ever since the post-election violence of 2007 and early 2008, but he has tacitly maintained his silence, his office only insisting that they were doing their job as expected and had issued warnings that were usually ignored. Noor Otieno, KTN, Weekend Prime.
Now, a week after the deadly terror attack on the Westgate Mall that claimed many lives, business in the Westlands part of the city is slowly coming back to life. Although police have cordoned off the scene of the attack, religious leaders managed to spend a few hours of prayer meters away from the mall, saying a prayer for the victims of the attack. And as KTN's Ian Wafula reports, the prayers were conducted by a surprise visitor in the country.
The aftermath of the Westgate siege on the 21st of September this year received many speculations, but what came out clear to most people was the fact that it was evident the attack was meant to create panic and disharmony. Many of the survivors from the terror attack had a similar storyline to tell.
And he asked if I was a Muslim. I said I am. And I pulled Seema with me, and he asked if she a Muslim as well. And no, he said, is this your woman? I said, yes, she is. And he said, ask her to cover up. And then he pointed the gun and said, leave.
Christian and Muslim leaders have not sat back and let the terror groups divide the nation along religious lines.
We call for continued interreligious dialogue on matters of national importance, as all faiths lost members in this attack.
We, Muslim leaders, gathered here today to condemn in the strongest terms possible the attack on peace-loving Kenyans and our international guests who have chosen to live and work in Kenya.
The year was 2010, and the world watched as one man's threat was going to change the course of a mutual understanding between Bible and Quran readers. You may or may not remember an American pastor, Terry Jones, who had vowed to ban over 200 copies of the Quran on the 2010 anniversary of the September 11 attacks. But one man made sure this did not happen. Meet the Global Peace Ambassador, Dr. K.A. Paul, who arrived in the country yesterday on his way to India. Paul felt the need to stop in Kenya after the terror attack to pray for the nation and victims of the Westgate Attack.
When I watched on the world news what happened in Kenya just 2-3 days ago, it broke my heart. Because I was here in 1998 during the bomb blast. And we had hundreds of thousands of people had a rally, and Kenya restored, stood strong, promoted peace, and Kenya showed its leadership in Africa and other parts of the world. Again, after so many years, almost 15 years, again the innocent victims have been attacked.
According to Paul, who has deep understanding of both the Christian and Muslim religions, none of the teachings from either religion supports the killing of innocent people.
Blessed are the peacemakers. He didn't say blessed are the peace lovers, peace wanters, or warmongers. Everybody loves peace. Everybody wants peace.
Together with local leaders, Paul held prayers today just a few meters from Westgate. They took a few minutes to pray for the nation, the leadership, and the victims of the attacks. The police, however, had condemned gathering of more than 15 people around the area, making it impossible for the prayers to include other members of the public. Elsewhere, students from 4 schools in Nyeri took their time to light candles, joining together in prayers for the same reason: to pray for the departed souls, peace, love, healing, and togetherness for Kenya and the rest of the world. It is clear from our leaders, regardless of our race or religion, we are all affected by terrorism. Through unity, Kenya and the rest of the world can overcome. Ian Wafula, KTN.
Indeed. Now, as soon as news of the Westgate attack spread across the country, many sympathized with those that lost their lives and the injured. But the Kenyan Spirit, perhaps one that has never been seen before, was portrayed in the manner in which Kenyans volunteered to help. From the hospital staff to blood donors, and even the financial assistance through mobile money transfer was quite encouraging. Stanley Mbichu now pieces together the responses from Kenyans after the attack.
The 21st day of September 2013, a day that will remain in memories of many, and a day that many innocent lives were lost. It brought a sense of belonging in the country. At around 11 a.m., a suspected Al-Shabaab militants launched a surprise and sporadic attack in Nairobi. Within minutes, innocent and vulnerable civilians unexpectedly trapped at gunpoint inside a 4-story shopping mall in Westlands. A deliberate motive to send panic to a country that for decades has sheltered many from around the region where they lack stability.
We are as brave and invincible as the lions on our coat of arms.
The Kenyan spirit is so strong, so powerful, to be
destroyed by mere terrorist attack.
Despite our diversity in culture, religion, and ethnicity, the events of that fateful day proved a unifying factor as everybody tried as much as they could to help those in need. From the rescue operations that started immediately the news broke to making sure the rescued were attended to immediately. The soldiers did not melt in fear. They stood their ground after they were called in to reinforce in the rescue operation. Local and international media risked their lives and made way to the scene and did all they could to inform the whole world of the terror on Kenyan soil. The following day was the day for the ordinary Kenyans far and wide from Nairobi to play their part, and they turned out in various spots to save a life of someone they had never met before. The social media platform was abuzz with not only messages of condolences from all over the world, but with condemnation from the cowardly act of the terrorists. The blood donation drive spilled over to the next day until there was nowhere else to store blood.
As a nation, our head is bloodied but unbowed. The criminals found us unafraid, as we shall ever be.
I join our president and the Kenyan nation to mourn those who perished in the mayhem and to comfort the bereaved and the injured. Poleni sana.
No matter what we go through as a country, we'll always stand out as a blessed country and ready to give and ready to show our unity and our love for God and our country.
And as families and friends come to terms with the loss of their loved ones, one thing that clearly showed after the heinous terrorism act is that Kenyans are capable of uniting even under very unlikely situations. In times of trials, toils, and disappointment in life, that one common person that everybody wishes to have is a friend. This overwhelming number of men and women of goodwill standing behind me are a clear attest to that. Standing for one common purpose and goal, respect to life. Maina Mbichu reporting for KTN.
And it is indeed hope that that unity will carry on even beyond this tragedy. Let's move away from that now and into the judiciary, where the war within the corridors of justice seems to be developing as time goes by. Alleged attempts by a section of the judiciary heads to axe Registrar of Courts Gladys Sholay does not seem to have all the answers right. Now, today the Chief Justice held secret talks with judges who have refused to move from the Supreme Court building. Angel Katusia is keeping tabs with the Judiciary Wars.
For close to 5 hours, High Court judges from across the country were held in a closed-door meeting chaired by the Chief Justice Willy Mutunga here at the Milimani Law Court. Earlier on, Chief Justice Willy Mutunga was held up in another morning private meeting at the Fairview Hotel. Here, Mutunga was spotted with Chief Justice Office Communication Consultant Kwamtetsi Makoha. The agenda of this first meeting was not disclosed. Mutunga then proceeded to chair the 3-hour meeting at the Milimani Law Court. The memo calling the High Court judges for a meeting was circulated to judges on Thursday. According to that memo, Chief Justice was to discuss the judges' salaries, among other issues. A communication sent to newsrooms late evening said the meeting was to brief judges on the latest developments in the judiciary. The communique says the Chief Justice commended judges for the quick disposal of election petitions that followed the March 4th general elections. However, there are many issues surrounding the judiciary. There seems to be a battle pitting a team allied to the CJ, Dr. Willy Mutunga, against the embattled Judiciary Chief Registrar Gladys Sholay, as shown in leaked emails. The emails suggesting an intricate plot involving top officials of the judiciary to kick Gladys Sholay out of the office. The judiciary is also bedeviled by unresolved corruption allegations allegations by the Judicial Service Commission against Gladys Sholei. On Friday, Gladys Sholei wrote to the CJ, giving him a 24-hour ultimatum to respond to the leaked mails from what is being termed as the War Council to kick Sholei out of the office. The JSC was holed up in yet another closed-door meeting this afternoon, the details of which have been kept under wraps. Whether the CJ was addressing the matter of the leaked emails with the judges is not yet clear. Angel Katuse, KTN.
Now, early this morning, residents of Kadhanga in Kiambu County assembled to watch as a young inventor attempted to fly an aircraft he had built at home. The 21-year-old mechanical engineering certificate holder drew upon his education and money saved from washing cars to build what he calls a light plane, an aircraft that resembles a glider. His dreams of taking off in his little plane were, however, thwarted by the police. KTN's Will Kistanyabo reports.
All of George's hopes, dreams and efforts come down to this moment. Like the most experienced engineer, he carries out the necessary checks. Checking the oil and then the engine. He tightens the nuts and bolts. And then, observing safety guidelines, George straps himself into the seat ready for takeoff. 21-year-old George Tumuti has spent almost every waking moment building what he calls his Microlight Aircraft.
Microlight is a type of aircraft that is designed for 1 or 2 passengers.
He started to work towards his dream in 2009 after scoring a C+ in his A-levels. This grade enabled him to join the Kenya Polytechnic, where he studied mechanical engineering. He left the Polytechnic with a certificate and a vision, and when he was unable to secure employment, he got creative and started to wash cars to raise the over 100,000 shillings he needed to fund the project.
I'm capable of engineering, so as my vision was to be a pilot, now I decided to come up with my own Microlight bike.
The aircraft has assorted parts from various automobiles, including a 200cc engine secured from a motorcycle.
It's capable of propelling the fan in order to produce the required thrust, the thrust that make the craft that tend to lift and push the craft at a high speed.
For 2 years he has built it, and now his dream machine of many colors is ready to take off. But the police have strictly forbidden George from lifting off the ground since he does not have an aviation license, and those who gathered here to watch George fly must content themselves with this exhibition of the power of a dream, believing as George does that one day they will watch him soar. Will Kistanyabo, KTN.
And we definitely do wish that young man all the best as he carries on with his innovations. So many young, brilliant minds in the country. We hope that comes to pass. We want to take a short break right now on KTN Weekend Prime, but we have lots more coming up for you. Please do stay with us. Now, welcome back. Now, the massive problem of unemployment is arguably the root of our country's major challenges. Now, here at KTN, we want to change that and give job seekers an opportunity to give back to the society. We also want to celebrate you, the employer, who has heard the cries of the unemployed and have given them something to fall back on. We will also give entrepreneurs a chance to tell us their first big break and how they made it to where they are now. Now, on Job Center tonight, we bring you a story of a young man who is giving back to the society, even though the same society has not offered him any job opportunities for the last 3 years. 27-year-old Wycliffe Siko, who has a diploma in journalism and mass communication, tells us his story.
No, he's not a class teacher. Nor is he a choir master. Wycliffe Siko is in fact jobless. For the last 3 years, this young man has been searching for a job in vain. And just like the hundreds of jobless youth across the country, he has been sending his resume to different organizations, but has never received any positive response. However, Siko has been doing what most job seekers across the country would consider a huge sacrifice and somewhat a waste of time. He has been volunteering to mentor young people in different colleges across Nairobi. He teaches them to be confident and to nurture their different talents. Siko decided not just to sit and do nothing about his lack of a job. He's giving back to the society at no cost. This particular group is getting ready to go and perform at a funeral, but they lack the confidence. This is where Siko comes in.
Tusikalie tu ati uko na degree unakaa, uko na diploma unakaa. You can do something to earn a living.
Like many other graduates who are job seekers, Siko tells us that his journey has not been easy.
I studied journalism and mass communication, and I graduated in the year 2010 from Nairobi Aviation College. No, I've been looking for a job. In fact, I'm still looking for a job because even this talent I'm trying to nurture into the lives of the students, I'm volunteering. So I just thought I should be, instead of sitting back in the house doing nothing, I should move around, touching the lives of those who aspire to be somebody in life, but they don't have anything. So that at the end of the day, when they are through with the academic level, instead of just sitting and waiting to be employed, they can use their talent to earn a living.
For a day to end well for Siko is a blessing, and every other new dawn presents a new challenge to him. Waking up to the harsh reality of hard Nairobi life without a job and no income has not weakened his hopes that one day a door somewhere will open for him.
I don't have any source of income at all. And the reason as to why I started this group, I'm hoping that this group, through this group, the Uwezo Fund that the President launched just recently will assist us.
We decided to help Siko position himself better for the job market, and we took him to meet the Human Resource Director at Standard Media Group, Pauline Kiraide.
Hi, Wycliffe, how are you?
I'm very fine.
What led you to selecting a career in media?
Media has always been my passion ever since I was in class 7. I remember during that time I used to write news, whatever is happening in school. Remember, it's a primary school, whatever is happening, and read it during the assemblies time. And after that, going to high school too, I was appointed to be the chairperson, CU and Journalism Club, also drama. And during, again, that level, I used to go to other schools, collect news, games, drama, festivals, bring news to the students and read it during the assembly time.
So what do you enjoy about journalism?
TV, news reporting. I chose TV because, you see, when you're talking about radio, in some other places around the country, people still listen to KBC. And these FM stations are not clear there. And in fact, they're not available to some other places around the country. And TV assists the audience to see the emotion of the newsmaker, to see the challenges of the newsmaker.
So in search of a job, what have you done?
I've been dropping my CV to different media houses. And also alongside my CV, there's a program I tried to come up with while I was still a student. I went to a school called Joytown Secondary School in Thika, where I met children with disability. And I interviewed them. They told me their story. And I made a DVD of that story. I also went to Star Special Center in Car West. I did the same and came up with a DVD. So I usually attach this DVD just to show my employer to be what I'm capable of doing.
Pauline Kiraide also gives him a word of advice.
It's good that at least you've done your physical drop-offs for your CVs, but I think the other thing is also good for you to go the extra mile to try and find out who are the key recruiters in those various organizations. Another more sure way of getting in to the job market would be for you to actually seek first to get an internship, where you're not looking for a job, you're looking to either do an internship with the organization first, because you actually now do get to learn.
Siko did not let this opportunity pass him by. He took us by surprise when he asked the HR director this.
Since I did journalism and you've talked about when I'm looking for a job, I should start from the internship, and you've said that's what I should look for. I request that you give me a chance in your media house.
And this was the HR's response.
What I'll do is, yes, I'll take your CV, and for sure, at least I can see you're really passionate about media. And yes, we'll call you in.
Well, we'll let you know if Wycliffe Siko got his first ever internship at the Standard Media Group after featuring on our Job Center segment.
My name is Wycliffe Siko. I have diploma in journalism and mass communication. I graduated in the year 2010, but since then I've never been employed. I'm appealing to any media house watching me through KTN to grant me a job in TV reporting.
Najma Ismail, KTN's Job Center.
You've got to love Wycliffe Siko. He is definitely bold then. We wish him all the best and we'll continue to track his progress. Now, still staying on matters employment, on My Big Break, Dr. Isaac Kalua explains his journey, his humble beginnings, and tells us how his parents had no money for his education, plus why he lost his scholarship to study in Australia, and when he finally ventured into business, how he had a series of false starts. But his determination to make a name for himself drove him to where he is now. Here is the story of Dr. Isaac Kalua, who is the chair and founder of the Green Africa Foundation.
I have come a long way, and I remember after my high school, I was ready to pitch myself to the market. Pitching because I wanted to move on to education, and my parents could not afford for my university fees, and I only banked on a situation that I used to be a poet. I wrote mashairi, I wrote poems, and I wrote plays. And I remember making a presentation to His Excellency, the former president of this country, President Moi. So I found myself on a flight going to Japan. And I remember as early as that, I managed on my second trip again to Japan in 1993, I found myself with an order for 5 million Kenya shillings. And that was good money then. And I thought that this is now the thing that I must be able to do, only to come back home. By the time we were doing the transaction, by the time we were now opening letters of credit, I was banking with Trade Bank then, Trade Bank closed. And there was no hope. One thing and a principle in life that you must never give up. This is so important. When I lost my opportunity to go and study in Australia, I never gave up. When I got again another order to supply 5 million Kenya shillings in 1993, or that period around that time, getting an order and the time of opening of the letter of credit, the Trade Bank goes down, I would have given up. And then coming again to another opportunity where I now had vehicles that I had to buy that were already at the port of Mombasa. After sending the money is when I go to the port of Mombasa to go and find that the vehicles were actually auctioned. And I started working on tree planting and picking just a simple subject. But I've realized that tell Kenyans to make money, they will all go there. But tell them how to conserve the environment, you'll be left alone. And I wanted to prove to this country that you can actually make money through tree planting. And in the year 2005, I planted so many seedlings. I put everything together, and I sold the seedlings. And Najma, the end thing of it, I wanted just to buy a Mercedes-Benz. Not because I wanted a Mercedes-Benz, but because I wanted to inspire Kenyans.
Dr. Isaac Alua, who is speaking to KTN's Najma Ismail. Now, during our Job Center series every Saturday, we will also be highlighting employers of the week who are doing the best they can to end this crisis of unemployment. And so this week, our employer of the week is a 37-year-old Fahmi Adnan, who owns a chain of restaurants going by the name Swahili Plate. Fahmi started his restaurant as a side business in 2006. Now, back then, he only had 5 employees. He now has 30 people working for him, and his business has expanded to 3 other branches. They are located in the Nairobi Central Business District, on Ngong Road, and another in Westlands. Some political matters now. And it has been weeks since county governors began a renewed push for a referendum aimed at changing the law to ensure more funds are allocated to the counties from the national budget. Governors now want county assembly representatives across the 47 counties to collect 1 million signatures from Kenyans to enable a referendum on the matter. But as KTN's political editor Ben Kitili found out, political fault lines may again hamper CORD's onslaught to take Kenyans back to the poll.
The push for a constitutional referendum to increase the county budgets continues in earnest, and the focus seems to have shifted to the 47 county assemblies. And with CORD being the proponents of the referendum, will Jubilee County Assembly representatives cooperate, or will party positions again come in the way? The spirited calls for a referendum by the official opposition coalition CORD have gone significantly quieter. CORD had seemingly identified senators to push the efforts for a referendum before Jubilee senators pulled the plug on the plan.
We no longer support the referendum.
The governors have since found themselves on a lonely path in the quest for a referendum, and they are now roping in the men and women on the ground in the devolved system of government, the county assembly representatives, also known as MCAs, to help sell the agenda to Kenyans.
That history to judge.
A meeting called by county assembly speakers at the Bomas of Kenya on Saturday to discuss remuneration turned into a call to fasten the push for a referendum.
We feel we should go back to Wananchi because the referendum has to pass through the county assembly. National Assembly has no business with the referendum.
Jaffa Kassam, the Parklands County Assembly representatives, who is allied to the CORD coalition, and many of his CORD counterparts across the 47 counties fully support the move. The CORD MCAs also believe many of their Jubilee counterparts will join them to push for increased county allocations.
We should get more than 50% of our national audited account of 2013-14 or 2012-13, not 2010-11, because that's misleading Kenyans.
However, talking to MCAs allied to the Jubilee coalition, it seems that just like the Senate, the county assemblies are also split right down the middle on the issue.
For a referendum, we are not for it. One, what I'm seeing is that it's like we are justifying the no side during the referendum of 2010.
The county of Nairobi, for instance, which is a model cosmopolitan county, is massively divided on many issues. There are 85 elected county assembly representatives, with CORD producing 43 of those and Jubilee having 42. The assembly is currently adjourned following a motion by Jubilee to impeach Governor Evans Kidero. And Jubilee are seemingly following in the footsteps of the Senate concerning the proposed referendum.
Instead of a referendum, which is very expensive, we wait for the National Assembly to come up with a legislation and make amendments, whereby those amendments, if it is the allocation of 40%, no problem, let them come up with an amendment of the Constitution, isn't it?
Political party politics are seemingly in play even in the county assemblies, although the issue of what they call poor pay has been uniting them from time to time. So which way county assemblies? For now, the grassroots leaders seem caught up between pushing for increased county budgetary allocations and towing political party lines. Ben Kitili.